All right, let's talk about artificial general intelligence. I mean, the term AGI is everywhere right now, but what does it actually mean? There's so much hype, so much confusion. Well, today we're going to cut right through all that noise. We're diving into a fascinating new framework that doesn't just tweak the definition, it proposes a whole new way to think about, to build, and to define the future of AI. So here's a quick look at our game plan. First, we'll get into the great AGI debate itself. Then, we'll look at this idea of performance versus process. After that, we'll introduce a totally new blueprint for AI, break down its 5 core pillars, and finally, we'll talk about what this all means for the future, moving beyond just mimicry. Okay, so let's start with the big question, the one everyone seems to be asking, from top researchers all the way down to, us. What is artificial general intelligence? It seems like it should be a simple question to answer, but it's not. Not at all. And that's the core of the problem right there. Nobody actually agrees on a definition. This is created what the source material calls a fragmented research landscape. You've got all these different teams, all brilliant, all chasing wildly different goals, but they're all calling it AGI. It's no wonder there's so much confusion about what we're even trying to build here. All right, Section 1, the great AGI debate. We're talking about the value-laden pursuit of human-level AI. And yeah, let's dive right in, because this isn't just some academic squabble over a definition. It's a really deep conflict about the entire nature and purpose of AI, and it's absolutely packed with hidden assumptions about what we, as a society, even think is valuable. And this right here gets to such a critical point. Our definitions for AGI, they are not neutral. This quote from Ruha Benjamin nails it. A narrow definition can stifle our ability to imagine better futures. Think about it. If we define AGI as just, say, something that can do economically valuable work better than a person, then that's what we'll build. We're baking a specific kind of corporate utility-focused value system right into our research, and that could slam the door on other, way more profound possibilities. So, Section 2, performance versus process. We're looking at 2 competing visions for AGI. And really, you can boil this whole debate down to 2 opposing camps. You can think of it as team performance versus team process. And they have fundamentally different ideas about what intelligence even is. So on one side, you have team performance. For them, it's all about what the AI does. Can it pass the Turing test? Can it do your job better than you can? They say the internal wiring, the how, doesn't really matter. But then you have team process. They argue that what the AI is what's crucial. We need to replicate the processes of human thinking, genuine understanding. Otherwise, we risk creating what philosophers call a philosophical zombie, basically a perfect mimic with all the lights on, but nobody's home. And this laser focus on performance has created a huge blind spot in today's AI. Our current systems, they are masters of what psychologists call crystallized intelligence. They can use the massive library of information they were trained on like nobody's business. But they really, really struggle with fluid intelligence. That's the ability to reason your way through a brand new problem you've never seen before. And this isn't just some abstract idea. You can actually measure this gap. There's this thing called the Abstraction and Reasoning Corpus, or ARC benchmark. It's a test designed specifically for this kind of novel, fluid problem solving. And the results? They are stark. I mean, even the absolute best, most cutting-edge AI models lag way, way behind the human baseline. It perfectly illustrates the point. They are amazing at using what they already know, but they are not so great at figuring out something completely new. Okay, Section 3, a new blueprint for AI. We're introducing this idea of true intelligence. So, what if there's a third way? A way to bridge this gap between performance and process. A way to move beyond just mimicry and actually build something with genuine cognitive abilities. Well, this is exactly where our source material proposes a whole new blueprint. And they call this new paradigm true intelligence, or TI. The goal is super clear. Stop focusing on just mimicking what humans do and start focusing on actually building the underlying cognitive machinery that allows us to do it. It's a fundamental shift. It gives researchers a clear roadmap for what to build, not just a new test for what to measure. So let's get into the 5 pillars of intelligence. These are the measurable components of TI. The crucial part of this whole framework is how it proposes we do this. It takes this huge, fuzzy, abstract idea of intelligence and breaks it down into 5 core and, importantly, measurable components. Think of them like milestones on the road to real intelligence. So here they are. These 5 pillars build on top of each other, creating a truly intelligent system. You start with embodied sensory fusion. Then you add core directives, then a dynamic schema module, a multi-expert architecture, and finally an orchestration layer. Okay, that's a lot of jargon, I know. Let's actually break down what each of these pillars really means and why it matters. Okay, this table lays it all out beautifully. Pillar 1, embodied sensory fusion. This is about grounding the AI in the physical world. It can't understand heavy if it's never felt weight. Pillar 2, core directives. This is its own internal motivation, its own why, so it learns because it's curious, not just because it's told to. Pillar 3, dynamic schemata. This is a flexible web of mental models, so it can actually learn from every single experience and apply that knowledge to new things. Number 4, multi-expert architecture. Think of this like specialized tools in a toolbox that all work together seamlessly, not just skills that are kind of bolted on. And finally, the big one, the orchestration layer. This is like the system CEO. It allows it to self-monitor, self-correct, to literally think about its own thinking. All right, section 5, beyond mimicry, the future. So, when does AGI become TI? Let's zoom out. What happens when you actually build a system that has all 5 of these pillars working together? Well, this is where that fuzzy line between AGI and this new idea of true intelligence starts to get very, very real. And the consequences are profound. The framework calls a system that has successfully implemented all 5 of these measurable pillars a level 5 system. This is the top of the mountain. It's not just a vague goal, it's a specific architectural achievement. Reaching level 5 means you've built a system with all the foundational components for genuine intelligence. And this brings us right to the paper's main conclusion. A system that reaches level 5 isn't just a clever parrot anymore. It's so functionally complete, so integrated, that arguing about whether it's truly conscious or not becomes, well, kind of a philosophical game. For all intents and purposes, the paper argues, a level 5 AGI is functionally and practically the same thing as true intelligence. And this new goal, it completely changes the ethical conversation. I mean, this is not just a technical detail for engineers to debate. It forces us to ask completely different and frankly much harder questions about what we're doing. This really shifts our ethical concerns. Right now, most AI safety conversations are about control and alignment. How do we make sure this powerful tool doesn't hurt us? It's about managing an object. But the ethics of true intelligence, that's about moral status and rights. The question becomes, how do we treat a new form of conscious being? We're not talking about a tool anymore. We're talking about, well, a new form of life. And that brings us to the final, incredibly heavy question. Is it ethical to turn off a conscious being? As we go from building systems that are just really good mimics to ones that might actually be intelligent, we are bumping up against some of the deepest philosophical questions our species has ever faced. The road ahead isn't just about building better tech. It's about deciding what kind of future we're creating and what kind of beings we're willing to share it with.